everyone started laughing at me. And then ever since then, I thought, like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. You miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. Obviously, the oldies like it because it's bingo. The youngins like it because it's a massive night out. When people drink, as you know, they can get a bit rowdy.
What's the craziest thing that you've seen happen?
People flash themselves at you sometimes. Next thing you know, it's just bra comes off and she throws on stage at me. I'm like, okay, thanks. When I was up on the balcony, hanging off the balcony, like, covering everyone in Cocoa Pops and everything. And then we got her on a big inflatable rubber duck on the stage, stripping in front of a couple of thousand people, and you're like, I don't know if I've got that in me. Like, and everyone's like on the tables and holding glow sticks up, shouting, and like I had to go out onto the stage as she was still zipping me up.
Probably gone back on stage a little bit too drunk. Never mind after a full bottle of white wine.
He leant me head against the little plastic window, started rubbing me head against the window. And then in the week, I'm also a kids entertainer.
Do you ever just get any like mental requests from the audience?
Someone had just got divorced and she was out with a group of mates, and she held a sign up saying,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the DaneMellowsTalks podcast. This is Talking Point, and today we've got a very, very exciting guest. When I knew I was coming back for the podcast after travelling these past couple of months, I knew exactly the type of guest that I wanted to get on. I knew that I wanted to get a main stage actor on, Ed Wade from The Flash. I knew that I wanted to get a mental health expert on. We had Nick Mins. This week, I knew that I wanted a Bongos Bingo Dancer, okay? And this guy, Declain Phillips, you know, he's a really nice guy. You'll see that in the interview, you know. He does Bongos Bingo, and he does a lot at Bongos Bingo. And then he does child entertainment parties, so dressing up as like Spider-Man, Thor, the Grinch, and we get into all of that and how he got into all of that, why that's his passion, and how you can follow your passion as well. So it's a really, really exciting interview. I had a great time talking to Declan. Make sure you follow his socials. I'll get them in the description, and we talk about them during the video as well, in case you just want to go and have a look at them, in case you might want to book him for your kid's party or your mates whatever, or you want to see him at Bongos Bingo. You know, keep your eye out for him. He's a quality guy, and I hope you enjoy the interview. If this is your first time watching us, then please make sure that you like the video, subscribe if this is on YouTube, drop a comment down below about what you thought of the video, and if you're listening on Spotify, please rate us 5 stars. It helps us out more than you could know. Enjoy the podcast. So Declan, I know you're a party entertainer. I know you've been involved in a lot of Bongos Bingos events as well. How did you get started in that world?
Well, funnily enough, it started when I was like, I think it was year 2. That was the main time. Yeah. Well, it was in primary school, and I got offered the role of an ugly stepsister in Cinderella. And I was just like, well, when you're in year 2, you're like, you'll do whatever. Like, you're not embarrassed or not like that.
Yeah.
And I realized, like, I got on like the little stage in my primary school, and everyone started laughing at me. And I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I'm enjoying this. Like, I like it. And then ever since then, I thought, like, yeah, this is definitely what I want to do. And I progressed. Just kept on getting roles in like primary school, little roles. Then in high school, I found out they had like a production arts like centre, so I joined that straight away as soon as I went there. Started getting all the pantomimes. After secondary school, I went to Lippe Sixth Form College, which is based up in Liverpool. Studied there for 2 years, performing in production arts, and then it's just been a rolling ball ever since then. Just like every opportunity I get, everything I'm asked to do, I never say no to anything that's about me. If I'm asked to do any type of project or any type of acting thing or singing or anything to do with performance art, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, it's a good bit of advice that always being open to different opportunities, and obviously
100
from
being
100 like, go on.
100%. Yeah, it's definitely because you miss. There was a quote that I heard once. It was something like, "You miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take."
That's the
and
one.
I kind of live by that now, because it could take one little thing. Anyone could ask you to do anything, and if you say no to that, that could have led on to something so much bigger than what it already started out to be. Do you know what I mean? So that's why I say to myself, like, if I get offered anything now, I'm always like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, I'll do anything.
Yeah, 100%. And obviously going from one of the ugly stepsisters in year 2, to now, well, sort of like a similar role, being in like that environment of the Bongos Bingo, like dressing up in that sort of way. How do those two sort of things link? And is there any like similarities of getting the crowd going?
I feel like, yeah, there are a couple of similarities. Obviously, one, I'm dressing up as a female, which is a laugh for me, and it's getting like the crowd going, like they love it, like they like. Obviously, it's a completely different like environment. Year 2 in primary school, and then being in front of a couple thousand people every weekend, like screaming and getting absolutely smashed. But I feel like it's the same as in like, you put in 100% efforts and you're making people laugh, and that's like what the main part about it is. That's what I love about it. Just when you're on the stage, when you're bouncing off the audience, it's great because like they're laughing at you, but like you're laughing with them, and it's just It's just so much fun. It's amazing.
So, do you find it hard at any points? Because obviously, Bongos Bingo, there's so many different ages that go there, like obviously 18 plus, but everyone of
Yeah,
all age goes really. Do you find it hard
yeah.
to cater to everyone, or is it sort of mainly just everyone's coming, it's the same vibe, all one atmosphere?
Do you know what? When I first started, I thought it would be like that because I thought, how are we supposed to entertain like 18-year-olds? Like they've just turned 18, it's their birthday, let's go out to Bongos Bingo. And then again, there's like 50, 60-year-olds there too. And I thought, I don't know how this could actually work when I first joined, but it does. Somehow it just does because everyone, the environment, that's what I like about it so much as well. It's all inclusive. Like anyone can go, like from any different background, male, female,
Yeah.
anyone, like wherever you want to be. But that's what I really enjoy about it. And I feel like obviously the oldies like it because it's bingo, and the youngins like it because it's a massive night out. Put it
Yeah, yeah.
together, and that's what makes it so inclusive. Like it's just literally for anyone and everyone.
Yeah, you can't go wrong. I've been to
Yeah.
quite a few of them myself, and it is
Have
always
you?
just
Yeah.
such a good time.
Oh, yeah. Crazy night. Crazy night.
But it is that sort of thing, at least from like an audience perspective of like anything can sort of happen in there. So obviously
Literally.
working the events, do you find it hard sometimes having to like adapt to anything can happen?
I feel like because I've kind of grown up stage, I'm kind of okay with that now. Like kind of adapting to different types of things, but you still do get like the odd thing that happens. Like it depends what venue you do sometimes. Well, like whether it's big or small. Like if it's a massive audience, or sometimes when people drink, as you know, they can get a bit rowdy and like there'll be kickoffs and stuff. But that you just have to persevere. And the security are really good at all the venues as well, which help us out a lot because they're doing their job well, we're doing our job well. If anything ever kicks off or anything ever goes down, they're always there just to sort everything out, calm everything
Yeah.
down, and kick someone out if need be. But that's very rare.
Well, maybe not in terms of like kicking people out or anything, maybe in terms of like well, just mental things that have happened because like you say, people are going and people are drinking and stuff. What's like the standout memory when you think about that? Like, what's the craziest thing that you've seen happen at a Bongos Bingo event?
Crazy. Okay, so there was one time. Well, I'll start off like the basics. Like there's like women there and stuff like that. And when you're on stage, like people flash themselves at you sometimes, and it's a bit like,
Oh
oh, in
wow.
your face. And it's like, yeah, it just happens. Like I remember I was in Manchester, in where was I in Manchester? It was in the can't remember what the venue's called, but it's a
Right.
really cool venue. I'll probably click back in my mind. But yeah, I was there and this girl, she was in the front just screaming, enjoying it. I was like, oh yeah, like waving, smiling, like posing for pics and stuff. Next thing you know, she just comes down, bra comes off, and she throws on stage at me. I'm like, okay, thanks. And she's like, woo! With everything else, just like, no holding back. And then I just decided it'd be funny to get a bra and then put it on over the top of me. And
Oh
I just started
wow.
doing the rave around with the bra on top. But yeah, there's loads of things. I remember in December just been, I have a Grinch costume at home. I'll get into
Right.
that in a little bit later why I have a Grinch costume at home. But and they said since it's Christmas and it's Bongos Bingo and anything happens, why don't you bring your Grinch costume and like in the rave round or there's a part where there's like a Cocoa Pops round and if you win the Cocoa Pops, you and the person who won it in the audience get up on stage and you fling the Cocoa Pops everywhere and like cover the whole audience in Cocoa Pops. And the host I was with, he was like, I think it'd be funny if you dressed up as the Grinch and just came out as the Grinch because obviously Grinch likes to cause havoc. Come out as
Of
the Grinch and
course,
just
yeah.
like cover everyone in Cocoa Pops, just throw it everywhere. So that was pretty funny. I was up on the balcony, hanging off the balcony, like
Yeah.
covering everyone in Cocoa Pops and everything. But people seem to love it. Honestly, everything. There was one time I can't remember her name again. I think it was Leslie. It was, and
Right.
I think it was a 70th birthday, and we put one of her favorite songs on, and she was loving life, and like she could have been 18 by the way. She was up and dancing on the tables. Like we loved her. Like she fit in perfectly. Like she right whoever like she's like the ideal person to have a bongos if you're gonna go. And we got her up, and she became the bingo caller for like a full round. So this
What?
like 70-year-old woman, Leslie, was just up calling out all the numbers, and everyone was loving it. Everyone was just like,
Yeah,
"Go
yeah.
Leslie, go Leslie!" And then we got her on a big inflatable rubber duck on the stage, and we started spinning around on the stage. It was mental. That was one of the best ones. To be fair, I really enjoyed that one. That was really fun.
What an absolute legend coming to Bongos Bingo
Yeah,
for your 70th birthday.
honestly, yeah, literally, like she was amazing. She was actually a really good sport as well. Like, and she laughed it off at the end, and she was like, "Thanks so much." And the best thing about it was she won the rubber duck at the end, so
Oh, did she?
that was great. Yeah, she won it.
Do you find things like that then they give you a massive like adrenaline rush while you're up there and things just that like sort of carries you through the night?
Definitely, yeah. Well, when I first started, I was so actually. I'll quickly tell you about how I first started. So,
Yeah.
Cole, the manager of Bongos, he messaged me on Star Now. It's like my little acting profile I've got.
Mm.
And he messaged me one day and I was like, "Hello, Declan. I've been looking through your profile and I think it'd be a good fit for Bongos Bingo." And bear in mind, at this point, I didn't know anything. I knew I've heard of Bongos Bingo, but I didn't know what it was about. I knew it was just bingo, but I didn't know what went on there and stuff, like
Yeah, yeah.
what we have to dress up like and all stuff like that. But the only thing I did know is my sisters had been there before, to the ones in Liverpool. So I FaceTime my sisters dead quick and I'm like, "Guys, it's been offered the job at Bongos Bingo." And they're like, "No, you haven't. Shut up." And I was like, "Yeah, why is that good? Is that bad? Why is it a good job and stuff?" And they're like, "Deck, do you know what it's like?" I was like, "No, well, I've never been." And they sent me just these loads of videos over messages. And I remember watching them like crap. Like I can't. Like, at first, I'll be honest, I was going to turn it down. I wasn't going to do it because I
Really?
was just looking at it, and yeah, because it's the whole the wig and the dress, and then obviously when they take the dress off and like the stripping in front of a couple of thousand people, and you're like,
Yeah, yeah.
don't know if I've got that in me. Like I'm a performer, like, but I don't know if I can take my kits off in front of everyone. I don't know if that's a bit of me. And then I kind of sat on it like that night, and I kind of thought about it. The next day, I woke up and I messaged Cole back, and I was like, "Do you know what? I'll give it a go. I give it a go." And I did it, and I loved it. But yeah, about the adrenaline side of it, my first ever night I ever did it, I remember I had to get like pretty smashed. I'm not gonna lie, I had to drink
Really?
quite a bit to go on. Because what's good about it as well, they give you like free rides and stuff. So anyone who works, you just get free drinks backstage, and then you bring it on stage and
Oh,
drinking and having a
nice.
laugh with all the audience. So it is really fun, yeah. And I remember going there and you're like, "What drinks do you want?" And I was like, "Oh, like I'll have a pint or something, please." Like thinking like we had to buy it. Someone was doing a round or something. Be like, "No, no, like they just give you drinks. Like, what crate do you want?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So I took full advantage of it, and I was like, I think I got like a good few logs, and I just started necking them all before the show, and then it was fine, and it was okay. And then obviously weeks, months went by, and then as you get more used to it, it is just the pure adrenaline. Then, like as
Yeah,
soon as
yeah.
you go on, and you're in the wings as well, and you hear like the crowd like screaming and singing along, and then it's that you get this mad euphoria from it. You run on the stage, and everyone's like on the tables and holding glow sticks up, shouting, and like they get to know your stage names and stuff like that in certain places that you go. So when people are shouting your stage name at you, it's amazing. It's like this is so good. Like people coming here to watch me. It's just so much fun.
Have you
And
ever
as I said,
go on?
it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
Sorry, it does help when the audience like are really like the participate and stuff like that. I mean, like it helps them. Like it helps a lot.
So with the mix of that, like having the audience like bigging everything up and getting fully involved, and then also having like the full crate of whatever you want on the side. Have you ever like
Yeah.
mixed them up a little bit too much and you've probably gone back on stage a little bit too drunk and then had all the adrenaline from the audience as well?
Yeah, good few times. Not gonna lie, it's happened. It's happened to the best. It happens to everyone. If you, I feel like
Yeah.
anyone who works there and you drink, it happens. Like it just because again, you get that adrenaline, so you're dead. You're excited. You're in the mood, so you're drinking, and and then in the end, you're just sitting like backstage in one of the rounds, and you're like, I have to go back on now and do like another half an hour dancing and like shouting numbers and running out into the audience. But the funniest time, I think, I was with a guy and we were in Stafford, and he was like, "Do you fancy getting a bottle of white wine each?" And I was like, "Why not? Why not?" So we went to the bar and like they knew we did dances and stuff. So we said, "Can we just have a couple of bottles of white wine, please?" And he handed us a couple, and we finished like half of that before we even started the show. And I remember just going on. I was just like, "Whoa!" Like, just going for it. And then halfway through the show, I finished the full bottle of wine, and it was a round where one of the prizes was an inflatable dinosaur costume, like one of those big, massive inflatable
Yeah,
dinosaur
yeah.
costumes. And it was my job that night to get inside the costume, and I was due on in like 2 minutes, and our driver who took us to the venue, he was trying to get me dressed in this inflatable dinosaur costume, and at this point, I was just gone, and I was like, yeah, and I was stumbling, falling over. I had to go out onto the stage as he was still zipping me up. So
Oh,
you seen him
jeez.
coming out with his hands like still trying to zip me up, and I was like, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. But yeah, that because the footholds, man, like even for sober people, I think it'd be hard to get your feet in there. Like they
Yeah,
make them so
surely.
tight, which I get why, because obviously it's airtight. You can't let any air out. But here I
Yeah.
am, like stumbling, like oh god, get
Yeah.
me foot in, like falling over all over the change room. But I did it. I accomplished it,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
we did. It worked out perfect in the end.
Yeah, I was going to say, surely them dinosaur costumes are hard enough to walk in the best of times. Never mind after a full bottle of white wine and then anything else, and
Honestly,
not back to the audience
it
rushing everything. Yeah,
definitely. And then when you're jumping off the stage and the head's bouncing down, and you're losing air and stuff, and you're like, what's going on? So I think I only stayed in that costume for about 5 minutes, and then just kind of turned around and went, can't do this no more. I need to take it off because, and like, even though it's blowing cold air in there, somehow you get so hot in there. Like it gets so
yeah,
steamy, and like you've got like this little like a little plastic window to look through, and that fogs up. And obviously your hands are in these big dinosaur arms, so it's not like you can get your hand in and like wipe it. So you can't see. And you have to like, I was using my fringe. My fringe actually came in handy at one point. I just leant my head against the little plastic window, started rubbing my
yeah.
head against the window just to make like a little part of like for me to see out of. But yeah, it
Like
was
your own
fun.
little
But
window wiper going on inside the
literally,
dinosaur. Yeah,
literally, yeah. Just that my head was a window. I was just doing that,
yeah,
and people looking through must have thought, "Why is he waving his head?" But little did they know I was using it as a tactic just
yeah.
to wipe all the like the vaporized sweat away.
That's crazy. So
Yeah.
with the audience obviously getting involved and stuff, and having stuff like that happening that's mad enough already, do you ever get like, I know you'll get a lot of song requests going on and things like that, but do you ever just get any like mental requests from the audience, like that 70-year-old lady who came up and wanted to do the bingo? Anything that just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so like yeah, we get the average ones. Obviously, like it's someone's birthday, can you give them a shout
Yeah.
out? It's someone's engagement, it's someone's hen party. But then there was one once. I think we don't get many crazy ones. The craziest one I've ever had is someone had just got divorced and she was out with a group of mates and she held a sign of saying recently divorced. Please give us a shout out. So we did. We was like, congratulations for getting out of that thing and stuff. Because I remember when I went into the audience to get a book off one of the audience, she told me she was like, oh, it was like rubbish marriage, whatnot. So we were just like, congratulations for getting out of that rubbish marriage and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
And everyone was like, "Woo, congrats, high fives, hugs, and everything go around." So, but I think that's the most out there one, a divorce,
Yeah.
a divorce shout out. Can you please shout out that I've got divorced, please?
Yeah.
Single now.
Yeah. Yeah, just
Yeah.
making it known. So going from obviously that's like your Friday, Saturday night. It's going from the rest of your week. Do you want to tell us about your job as an entertainer?
So people always laugh when I tell them this because it's such a big comparison. Like it's like at one end I'm off a weekend, like got a dress and a wig on, stripping off if the number 69 gets called out. But then in the week, I'm also a kids entertainer. So it's just completely two different ends of the spectrum. But yeah, so for me, kids party entertainment business are basically like dress up as superheroes like Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man, Hulk. The main character that I do is someone called Blippy. He's basically best way I describe him. He's like an American Mr. Tumble on YouTube, and kids absolutely love him. Like they go crazy
Right,
for him.
okay.
And it's like Monday to Friday, like mornings to early afternoons before I go to Bongos. I'll yeah, I'll just do parties all week for kids' parties, wish them happy birthday, personalised videos, FaceTime, stuff like that. And then also, if we don't do stay over shows at Bongos, I'll sometimes do like Saturday days and Sundays. But that's the other good thing about
Yeah.
Bongos as well. Like they get you like sometimes we go down to London for a weekend and they'll set you up in a hotel for a full weekend and you'll just do a weekend full of bongos, or you go to Scotland or you go to Manchester. Just
Oh, nice.
just different cities every weekend. It's really good though because I always say like you couldn't ask for a better job than that in a way because you're traveling. You're traveling in England every weekend with your mates and
Yeah.
you're entertaining crowds. Like that's there's no way to describe it than that. It's so good. It's amazing.
And the free drinks on top of it.
And the free drinks on top. Who could forget them? Yeah, the free drinks, anything you want. It's great. It's like an all inclusive every weekend.
So which one would you say is more challenging and which one would you say is more rewarding out of, working at the as Spider-Man and Thor and everyone at the kids' parties versus working as like a stripper lady at Bongos Bingo Nights?
Only on the number 69. Only if number
Only
69
on the
gets called out.
69.
They're
Yeah.
only on the 69. All the other numbers, dress and wig, stay on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think the most challenging one, I think, would definitely be bongos. From when I first started, it's not as challenging anymore because I'm used to it now, and like it's like second nature to me now. Like I know what I'm doing and
Yeah.
stuff. The more rewarding one, 100%, has got to be kids parties because it's like it's more magical. It's so much more because they believe that you're the real superhero or the real character and stuff. And when you walk in, it's like that. It's that first eye contact that you make with any of the children. Like they look at you and they look at you like you are their idol because they think you're the real character who's come into the house and stuff. And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just seeing them smile and make the day, and then you get pictures and like you get messages off the parents afterwards once you've left the party. Like I've got like countless voice notes of like kids it's like they've secretly like hid the phone, and the mum or dad's been asking the kids like, "What do you think?" And you just hear the kid just like going on and on and on about it, like saying how amazing it was. I want them to come back. I can't wait to see them again. Best day in my life, all stuff like that. And it's just you listen to them, and it's like, wow, like I'm so honoured. Like that's my job. I get to
Yeah.
just entertain people and make them happy. You literally couldn't ask for anything more, really, could you?
And is that something that you've always wanted to do? I know you said that you've always been into shows and like pantomimes and everything, but is as like Bongos Bingo, as soon as you heard about it and that job was you're like, that's clear for me alongside doing these kids' parties as well.
Yeah, well, I think Bongos Bingo was clear for me after I did a few shows.
Right.
Not at the start. I'd be not because, as I said, I've heard about it and I've seen the videos, and I was like, I can't do that. I guess
Yeah.
that's not in me. But yeah, I adapted, and now, as I said, it's like second nature. So yeah, I can definitely see myself carrying on with Bongos Bingo for um a lot further into the future, and 100% with the kids' parties. That's something I have actually always wanted to do, because I've always said my main three things I like to do in life is perform, working with kids and working with like animals, nature, and stuff like that. And with the kids' parties, I've got two of them there. I'm working with kids and I'm performing at the same time. So it's like,
Yeah.
do you know what I mean? It's a no brainer doing that. It's absolutely amazing.
And then looking forward into the future, is this something that you'd want to carry on for long term? Do you have other goals that you want to hit maybe in 5 years' time, maybe in the rest of the year? What's the plan going forward?
Yeah, so obviously I'd like to keep these going, because I feel like these like keep me back to my basics. This is where I kind of started, type of thing. I'd never want to like leave something that like I started like in the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I am looking more towards like and like camera work and stuff like that, like being in front of the camera as well. Um, but yeah, I've always wanted to like perform in front of the camera, like be like in
Yeah.
little movies. And I've done a couple of short films and like, little adverts here and there and stuff. But looking forward, I'm always contacting my agent. Like, is any more auditions came up? Is anything? Just put me forward for anything at all. I'll go for any audition. And I think I'm just starting to annoy them now, because like, yes, Declan, we're looking everywhere for you. I was like, okay, just making
Yeah.
sure, like, just letting you know I'm available for anything. Like, I'll do it. But yeah, 100% looking forward. Looking forward. I'm definitely looking more into like a lot more filming instead of stage. I love stage. Don't get me wrong, guys. That's where I started out. But I feel like the end goal is definitely like films and like TV and stuff like that.
That'd be really cool. And you clearly got the passion for it going forward.
100%. Yeah, I love it. It's my life, literally.
So, do you have any advice to anyone wanting to get started in something like this, or maybe just someone who wants to or needs to do a bit of public speaking or public entertainment, and they're a little bit worried about it and they need that little confidence boost?
I feel like the main piece of advice, which is something that I did kind of struggle with at the start, is, and I feel like a lot of people say this, but don't don't worry about what other people think of you at all, because I know from like personal experience, when I first started out, being in front of so many people, I was nervous. Like, well, like everyone's got the phones out. It's gonna get shared everywhere. What if people are making fun of me for dressed up as a superhero, being on stage, and like what if like I did they spot something about me and it's like, oh, that's funny and stuff. But I, I don't know how to explain. I feel like the best way I overcame it was actually just continuing on by doing it. And then in the end, I realized actually no one was going to say nothing to me, because since doing this, I've had like next to no like negative comments at all, or most of them have been positive. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
the main piece of advice is just don't worry about what other people think. If that's what you want to do, then do it. It's no one else's life at the end of the day. You can't live the rest of your life thinking like, oh, like people are going to judge me, because then you're not going to be able to do what you truly want to do. Do you know what I mean? It's literally the main piece of advice. Yeah, don't listen to what anyone else has to say. Like, if it makes you happy and it feels right for you, and that's the direction you want to go in, and that's everything you want to do, then just go with it. It doesn't have to make sense to anyone else, because that's their life. As long as it makes sense to you, and that's fine.
That is really, really good advice. And it's just class that you've been able to do what you want to do and have that like near to no negative feedback from it, and all just like
Definitely, yeah,
positive, just boosting you forward with it.
100%. Yeah, I feel like everyone's just yeah, I feel like everyone's kind of got me back in this kind of like in this in what I'm doing. But I know some people, like I've had friends who are also in like who are in the industry, and like, do you know those type of parents who are like, get a real job or get like a
Yeah.
steady 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, which is fine if that's what you like, what you want to do. I think you can get loads of good jobs like that. Like if that's something you want to do, then that's completely fine. But don't do it just because someone else is telling you to do it. Only do it if that's what you want to do. That's all I can say. Literally,
Yeah.
only do it if that's what you want to do.
I think that is some really good advice going forward for a lot of people listening to this that are maybe wanting to branch out and do their own things with maybe
Yeah,
things like
definitely.
that. Maybe, well, it can be in anything really, but to just go out and follow what you believe in and what you want to do.
100%. 100%.
Right. Well, where can we find you on social media and what have you got coming up for us?
On social media, you can find me at Declan_Phillips. We were having this conversation before where my name spelled a little bit difficultly. My mum decided to be difficult. She wants to be different. But first name is Declain instead of. So it's pronounced Declan, but it's pronounced Declan, but spelled Declan.
That's the one.
In the future, I've got some YouTube videos coming out. It's not mine, but I work for a kids YouTube channel called Tiny Treehouse TV. We do educational videos for children. Most cities in the UK, if you get yourself down to Bongos Bingo, you might see me there. Stage name Sexy Sally, so look out for that. If you've got some kids and you're booking an entertainer and you live anyone around Merseyside, I might be showing up to your door. And I have got a couple more adverts coming out, which I'm not allowed to say yet, but they're only small adverts. But look on telly, you might see something coming out soon within the
Very
next
exciting.
6 months. That's what I say.
Keep your eye on the TV. Keep your eye on the adverts. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, and to keep your eyes out on Bongos Bingo as well.
I'll have a look for you next time I'm there, mate. Thank you
Great.
very much for coming on the podcast.
No worries. You're very welcome.